guys, you're welcome to another episode of this my video, and today our video is going to be focusing on our playbook on Ansible. And you can remember vividly that in our last video we were able to launch Ansible controller, and we had like two servers a server on Ubuntu and a server on Linux, that we gave authorization to the controller to be able to control it and can install anything. Sorry for this page, guys. If you are seeing this page, it's because I gain my knowledge from these guys, Cloud Space Academy. If you want to learn more, come to these guys and you're gonna learn a lot. They have a lot of courses that they offer here, and they have great teachers. And you get here, guy, you will be able to learn so much. So last week we were right somewhere here, and I'm just gonna test this. What I simply did was I cleaned my environment. We are always advised to clean the environment. So, but I just relaunched it to be sure that it's working. So I'm just gonna pin, I'm just gonna pin all and show that I need to be sure that it's still working perfectly. And to pin all, you have ansible dash m pin all, and we should have the response pong if it works. Yes, these are the two servers, so they are still functioning properly. There is one server which is Ubuntu, and there is another server which is a Linux server. So now we are going to be focusing on playbook. And playbook here, like we said earlier, remember that I told in our last video we discussed that when you have Ansible, you can be able to use, of course, Ansible is infrastructure as code, but in this case, it acts like a configuration tool. You want to use the controller to be able to update servers at a blow. Remember, we said we could be able to use the controller, and we configure tools that can be able to run 100 to 1000 servers, or 1 to 1000 servers at a blow, more than that, without you necessarily moving from one server to the other. And I'm trying to give an example, like trying to update, say for example, like a Linux server. What Ansible has done is that Ansible has what is called a playbook, Ansible playbook. So Ansible has what is called Ansible playbook. A playbook is just like a playlist. Like when you play music, you have like a playlist where you can go to one playlist and you click start playing all the music that are there. It's the same thing that happens with Ansible playbook. So Ansible playbook has three major areas, and these three major areas are the name, the host, and the task. These are the three main areas here. You're trying to name what you want to do. For example, update a web server, like what you have here, and then the hosts. What is going to be hosting? Might be it's a web server. Which kind of a web server? Might be a Linux client or an Ubuntu client. And then the task. What is the task involved here? Probably the task could be an update, so that you update or install a version or start a service like HTTP, or task or start an Apache or enable an Apache page, and so on and so forth. Those ones will be the tasks that are involved in it. And so you can be able to build, and once done building your playbook, you can then hand it over to the controller. If it's controlling 1000 servers, it will take just few minutes and everything is done. All right, so we are going to be seeing how we can create a playbook. If you want to learn more, like I said, Cloud Space Academy can give you a lot of information. Just gonna show you how we can do a playbook in a very fast manner, and then I will run to them and you see the result. Okay, so if I come like to my VS Code here, I can Ansible playbook demo. All right, so ansible playbook.yum. Now, remember, I always tell you guys, all these things that we do here, they are documentations. We don't fabricate anything. Documentations are already there. You could get it from ChatGPT, you could get it from Google. And once you get the documentation, all you need to do is modify that documentation to fit your environment. All right. So, for example, if I come back like here, this is a playbook, but this playbook will not fit my environment. But I could copy this in playbook, and then what I simply do here is to modify it. If I come here and say copy this, let me see, copy this, and then I could then come back to VS Code, and I can be able to paste it and say now that doesn't fit my environment. All right, now I'm running two servers, um, and the two servers that I'm running here, it's there is a Linux server, client 1, and there's client 2, which is an Ubuntu server. So simply let's try to make something that reflect that. We've copied this and we want to build this server. So the question will be, what will this server be for? Look at here, like in this first part, the name, and I will say, for example,
They say all packages, all right, all packages, and deploy Apache, for example, web service, and deploy Apache web service on Linux, clients, since I have Linux clients. So that is the name. Remember, you will build playbooks depending on how many playbooks you want to. For example, I have two servers, so I could be building a playbook probably for, let's say, if I want to build a playbook for Linux, probably the playbook that will have to do the installation, generally run the yum update altogether. And remember that I said with a playbook, you need to have the name, the host, and the task. So what will be the host here? The host that will be involved here, since we are working with the Linux, so it will be considered as Linux client. That's my host. All right. And the remote user, I could use a remote user, or I could use a remote user as the root. And then if I come down to on the task here will be the name of the task. All right, so what am I going to be doing here? For example, I could say here update all package on the server. All right, say update, for example, update all the packages on the server. All right, so now Ansible bulletin, this one too, it's just a tool that it's giving to us. So it's telling us that what are we going to be using here? We are using a yum. It's a Linux server. We're using a yum, and the name here, it's going to be httpd. Right, so it's going to be httpd, but since I'm going to be doing for everything, so I can just come here and use the star, say we are updating all, and I'm using the latest version. So that is already all about this first task. And then in my second task, I could say install the latest version. Let's just say the latest version of Apache. All right, now all of this is found here. That is the template, Ansible bulletin what. So it's asking me what. Remember, I am dealing with yum, I'm dealing with Linux, so it's still here, it's going to be yum as such. Then now the question here is, what is again going to be the name of this service? And I will remove this one, and the name of this service here is going to be see, let me go down again. Yep, the name, just call it the name of this service here. Right, the name here will be httpd. And then the next one here will be, what is the state? What is the state? And the state here will be the latest. That's what I want to install. I want to install the latest. All right. Then I'm still having another task again. We have sudo yum update install, and then another one will be start service. Okay. So if I want to start service, I could come down here and I say uh so start service, and the service here is httpd. It's conditional if, hold on, if not started. So start service if it's not running. So if it's running, okay. If it's not running, start it. So that is equally going to be ansible dot, hold on, bulletin, right, dot e dot service. Seems this time around I'm starting a service, so this will be dot service. Ansible dot builtin, not bulletin, sorry. Okay, yeah, builtin dot service. All right, good. All right, so again, the what will be the name? The name here will be, what will be the name here? The name here will be, just go further. The name here will be, I have to make sure that everything's corresponding. What will be the name here? The name here will be, since we are working with httpd, so we have httpd. All right, and what is the state? The state will be, instead of this one now will be started. Okay, and probably we will still have another task. So that's just one playbook, and then you can go further again to start another playbook. So since if I want to do Ubuntu, I will equally have to do the same thing. All right, but the difference here now is with Ubuntu, you have different commands,
but it's going to be the same thing. Look at what you could equally do. I know, I don't know how recommended that is, but it's an easy way to learn. Since we are learning, we are students. If you come, like for example, to chat GPT here, no, not on Google, and we can say here, if we say server, so let's see what it's gonna give us. So you see, it's giving us basically the same thing, you know, and in its own way, whatever. That's just the way it's giving you, and you could just carry it from here too, and then you go and update it, and so on and so forth. Okay, so I'm not gonna be very much relying on this, and what I'm simply going to do is I will use the ones that I've already created, and the way I created them is just the same way like I have shown you. Like I was saying, I'm going to be using the ones I've prepped, and I prepped a repository here called YouTube, and this repository I have like how many players, playlists, or call it plays. Hold on, let me see something here. So like I already showed you guys that when you are able to, when you have successfully prepped your playbook, I already have mine. I'm going to be using the playbook that I've already prepped here, just not to waste much of your time. You just follow the same way like I demonstrated. Is either you're doing it for Ubuntu or you're doing it for Linux or whatsoever. But here I have prepped this YouTube repository here, and I have an index.html folder that reflects what we have in our playbook. There is this playbook. This other playbook is for Linux client, and there is an index.html here. So I create a folder for, I mean, a file for this, so much that if it gets to this level, immediately when you install the yum, you install all of this package, you should be able to install this path. And in this path, you find this index.html, and I have just created it and I have this information on it. Then I actually have another playbook. I made two playbooks. All right, there is a Linux playbook and an Ubuntu playbook. This one is an Ubuntu client, and in this Ubuntu client, I added install of Geek in Ubuntu, and I equally added display the name of display my name in all the hosts. So I did that too. Those are the extra things that I've added to this. And then this variable here that you have here, variable, this variable is just to hide um the information that is here. I didn't want to display it so you can know what is there. I know I've just hidden only one. It's the same information here, same one here, but just to hide it. And when I hide it, I name the folder variables.yaml. I mean, I name the file variable.yaml, and it's right here, variable.yaml. And it's the same thing that I've done for player one, variable.yaml, variable.yaml. All right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to move back to the controller. He is the Superman, and so this Superman is going to run all of these players, install, I mean, update, install, and do all of the things, just sitting as the controller and doing that in at the level of the other um, servers. So you can imagine what this can be able to do if you have 1,000 servers and you sit only on one controller and you do it. All right. So I'm going to move back to let's go back here. So what I'm going to do here is just clear off all of this, and I'm going to cd to a folder called web. All right, to this repository, and let me see what is found here. Yeah, this is the content here. All right, it has a total of 8. So what we're going to do here is we going to create these other files that we have here. All right, so yep, I'm going to start from index.html. So simply what I do here is that, excuse me, if I come here and say vi, immediately as I vi, I create the folder, the file. So vi to index.html, I create it. There's nothing in it. So instead of coming to build whatsoever I'm supposed to do on index.html at this side, I decide to do it here at my VS Code. So since I've already done it, I can just go in, open it up a little, and copy everything that I have done here, just like this. And then when I copy it, I'll have to go back here and paste it there. Okay, right here. So when I paste it, I'm simply gonna get out of it and save it. Right, save and quit. Okay, so as of now, I have one file. The next file that I'm gonna bring in here, I'll go back here and I'll look at the files that I have. It's under YouTube, so I'll have player one, vi player one playbook.yaml. So I have player one underscore playbook.yaml. All right, so I have this, and then I'll go into it. So I can come back here, open it up again, and I look at my player one. My player one is my Linux client. So what I'm simply going to do here is I'm copying everything that I've built here, just copy it, and then I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna come back here. Now I'll save it here. Once I'm done, I'm just gonna say save it, and then I have the second one. Then the third one again, I'll vi. This time around is player 2. I'm just gonna change this one to player 2. So I'm gonna vi to player 2, and my player 2 here is my Ubuntu. So I come back here, open up my player 1 is player 2, sorry, is Ubuntu. And this Ubuntu, again, like I showed earlier, I have git that I'm going to install in it and display of this name. So those are just additional configurations. So I'm just gonna copy this and do I'll copy it, and then I'll come back here, and then I'll paste it here. Okay, so once I'm done, simple thing that I'm doing here is just saving it and getting out of here. So I have already 1, 2, 3. I still have some dependencies. There are some dependencies that I have to bring here in this position, and if I come back here, I will have this. That's one. All right, this variable file, variable.yum. So I'll come back here and I'll say vi to variable.yaml such. So there's nothing there. I can come back here again and I'll be able to copy it. Oops. So I can come back here, and there's this one, and I'll be able to copy it. All right. So it's an HTTPD, so I just put it here, and then I'll simply just write it and create. So on the last one again will be vi to variable. This time around it's not variable but variables with an S. Okay, and let me get into it. And what is the content? If I come to variables, the content is Apache. So I can copy this one, and then right, I'm here, and so as such. So yep, that's it. So altogether I have, let me list it again, ls, oops, so ls dash l, and you see all the folders, all these repository files that I have here. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These ones are the ones that I put them, right? So I'm gonna run this playbook. There are only 2 playbooks. I'm gonna run them separately. I'll run the first one and the second one. All right, and so for me to run this playbook, I will use the command ansible playbook. Okay, so it will be ansible playbook, ansible dash playbook, and now I have player 1. Okay, this one, it recognizes this one, and I'll run it. So see that it's gonna run this, it's gonna run it, run it, run it, run it. All right, that is done. Then I'm gonna run the second one, and the second one again I'm gonna use the same so we say ansible. Okay, it's ansible dash player. Okay, play 2 playbook. All right, so I'll have play 2 playbook, and I'll, so with this I'm quite sure it's modified, so I'm just gonna save and move out. Okay, so with that done, I can rerun this. So I can say ansible dash player or playbook. Okay, and player 2, and then let's run it. So it's gathering, and then in player 2 it runs. All right, runs, and then everything is perfect. So that's basically what I wanted to show you guys. So that's how you do this. You can be able to run playbooks just like that. And to be sure that the message we passed on index.html is working, we can just go back to our server. We can come back here, and pick one of our clients, for example a Linux client here, and we'll pick the public IP, and then we can go test it and see if it's running. See that immediately I just put it was so fast, and that's the message that it's supposed to display. Ball has rounded up with assignment 2 on Ansible. All right, and that's it, guys. I have told you guys, you want to learn more about this, come to this guy, Cloud Space Academy, and you gain a lot of knowledge. Please do like, subscribe to my YouTube channel, share it, and click the notification button. That's the only way you can help me grow, guys, by doing this. I'm so super happy that those of you are very um, loyal, always come back to watch my video. And I thank you. Make comments, make suggestions just to help us build this. And thank you. Have a great day. Bye bye.